My Lords, I feel it's only fair to warn your Lordships that you are going to be seeing quite a lot of the two wonderful green peers over the next few weeks. And I'm sure you can understand that this is a particularly important bill for us. We've waited a long time, but also it's an issue that we both care very, very deeply about. I mean, having said that, of course, we care about a lot of other issues as well, which you would have seen. On this, of course, hinges a huge amount. And as I so often do, surprisingly, I agreed with the Noble Lord Lord Cormac, who used the word right, that the bill has to be right. And to do that, it has to be amended here in your Lordship's House. If we get this bill right, it will mean that we can get a lot of other things right. Our farming, our food production, our food growing, clean air and clean water supplies, our health and well-being, and our economy. A good bill will mean no trade deals with countries like Australia. Sorry, Natalie, sorry. With its awful farming practices, which have been banned here for years. None of the ecologically and economically illiterate long-distance swapping of lamb and beef, when we can buy our UK-produced meat right here from our own farmers with higher welfare standards. A good bill will offer more tech opportunities and more jobs in sustainable industries. A good bill will be this bill, heavily amended by your Lordship's House. Now, moving on to the amendments. It's a perfect group of amendments, and I do congratulate the Noble Lord, the Earl of Lindsay, for such a brief introduction, because, of course, his amendments are incredibly valuable. And these amendments go to heart of why this bill even exists. And personally, I think that if we get this right, it will be as big a piece, as important a piece of legislation as the Human Rights Act. Now, the Noble Lord, Lord Teverson's Amendment 2 reflects on the climate and ecological emergencies facing us. And my noble friend, Lady Bennett, and I were very happy to sign this amendment, and we're thrilled that all the opposition parties can unite around understanding the climate and ecological emergencies. Without the amendments in this particular group, this bill risks falling far short of what it needs to achieve. Without setting out the clear purpose, the central aim of the bill, then policymakers and the courts are in danger of interpreting this legislation far too narrowly and failing to give effect to the proper intention of Parliament. Without these amendments, there's very little to bind the decisions made under this bill. The ambition of the bill could have little real-world effect if we don't craft the right mechanisms to turn the ideas into action. Then there's the requirement for the Prime Minister to declare a climate and ecological emergency. Why hasn't he already? Perhaps the Noble Lord the Minister can tell us that. Quite honestly, this is something that's got to happen before COP26. It's impossible for the United Kingdom to give any type of leadership at COP26 without this declaration. It should form the very foundation of COP and be the base for negotiations there. Without properly diagnosing the issue, we'll never agree on the solutions and actions that the world must adopt. I support these amendments wholeheartedly.